what she wanted to do with her life, and her book chronicles the 50 things she did after the age of 50 to find and reinvent herself. I love this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, you had a lot going on. I'm going to kind of read this off. Your kids were growing up. You and your husband had drifted apart, and you put your law career on hold to raise your family, so you kind of felt stuck. Talk a little bit about how you were feeling emotionally and what you decided to do to reinvent yourself.
Yes, absolutely. 50 is a reckoning point for many of us, and a bunch of things converged at one time. I got divorced, I became an empty nester, and I became sober from alcoholism, all at age 49. So at age 50, when someone asked, how will you celebrate your 50th birthday, I was at a loss. And someone said, why don't you try 50 new things?
The audio is
I'm
slower
somewhat
than
of a dilettante. I love to try new things, and it was a light bulb moment. So I brainstormed things that I could try to investigate what would bring me joy in this chapter of my life and how I wanted to live this chapter of my life.
So you don't have to mention all 50, but give us an idea of what you did and what you learned about yourself.
Okay, well, one of the more radical things that I did was to get my motorcycle license and a motorcycle, and I like to call it wind therapy. I enjoy the feeling of freedom, of the wind in my hair, and it feels a little rebellious because it's very out of character for this sort of buttoned-up lawyer, volunteer at church sort of person to do. And yet it made me feel free and unencumbered and just really happy. It brought me joy. There were a few things I tried to stretch my comfort zone that I have no need to ever try again, such as going to open mic to sing. I'm a horrible singer. My kids used to. I tried it.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no need to do it again, but I'm happy I tried it.
And here we have the book right here. It looks really cool. I've been kind of flipping through it. Now, part of the reason why you wrote it, and there it is up on the screen as well, part of the reason why you wrote it is to encourage other people to kind of take these dares, if you will.
Yes, I believe that Americans are quite conscious about how we spend our money, yet time is the one commodity none of us can have endless supplies of. You can't buy it. If you waste it, it's on you. And yet so many of us kind of let our time be frittered away. I now am very intentional about how I spend my time. If someone asks me if I want to go get drinks, or, well, I don't drink anymore, if I want to go get dinner or something like that, I practice the pause and determine whether it's the right thing for me. If I'm feeling depleted, if there's something else I'd rather do. As a recovering people pleaser, I've changed how I respond to the world.
If you go back for a moment to those 50 items, you mentioned that you put your items in stores and went to Nepal.
I did.
How long were you there? What did you learn about yourself?
Well, I was gone for 2 months,
Okay.
And I volunteered in a school in a very remote part of the Himalayas. I had to hike 8 hours from the end of the road to get to this school. And these children had no electricity, running water, they had no shoes, and there was snow on the ground. And what it was for me was an exercise in finding gratitude for all that I have, as opposed to all that I may have lost. And happiness for me has a lot to do with being grateful to just be here.
And digging back a little bit into your background, you're biracial, and we read on your website that your parents were forbidden to marry in the 1960s here in Maryland.
In Maryland,
Yeah. How did that affect your life overall?
Well, when I found out that it was illegal for my parents to get married here in Maryland, I was somewhat incredulous at first, and then found out it was illegal in 16 states until 1967. And I was more aware of color differences, and I was the only person of color in my Montgomery County school at the time, and it made me feel self-conscious and other than. I had sort of a dual consciousness going through my life and determining if people would make assumptions about me based on my skin color or not, depending on where I was. So it did have quite an impact on me.
Well, I am happy that you've done 50 things after 50, and I think I'm going to take this book and try a few of them.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Or make your own list.
Exactly. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. Her book can be ordered on Amazon. You can also log on to marialeonardolson.com for more details about it and about her.
And coming up